Hi, friends. It's your girl Harpo. Welcome to this episode of Brown Girl Guilt titled, Nah, I Don't Want to Be Just Friends. This episode is part of a larger theme of the season 6, and it's titled Harpo's Love Life, a series of misfortunate events where I take you all into the journey of my love life and share with you all just how funny and ridiculous and beautiful and painful, but also so wonderful, and how happy and still crazy it has been. Now, this episode titled Nah, I Don't Want to Be Just Friends is about all the times that I shouldn't have been friends with someone, but I said, let's remain friends. Or somebody asked me to remain friends, and I said yes, even though I didn't want to. And the reason that I wanted to record an episode about this and give it this much space in the world is because this is actually so much bullshit. Like, if you think about it, this idea of remaining friends with someone that you were either dating or seeing or hooking up with is just, in my opinion, a whole lot of bullshit. Unless you guys are like very secure people and you ended on like really, really good, amicable terms, I don't know if being friends with someone that you still have lingering feelings with is good for you. Truly, I don't think so. And especially when you weren't even friends to begin with, right? I think like if you weren't even friends to begin with, like you didn't even have a friendship, and there was a lot of like, there was an outcome that you were both attached to. It's really hard to remain friends. You can't be friends. You can't remain friends if you weren't friends to begin with, right? And I think the reason that I find this so problematic for me in my life is because friendships are sacred, right? Like friendships are important. They're perhaps one of the most important relationships in your life after, let's say, family. And so it's so disheartening that as a generation, we've just been throwing around this term friend without really understanding what it actually entails. Now, there's been countless times in my life where someone has said to me, like, hey, like, like, I'm just not feeling it, or I'm like not over somebody else, but like, can we just stay friends? And there's been countless times that I've said to somebody who, I wasn't really interested in seeing anymore, like, can we just I think we're just better off as friends. Like, I think we should just be friends. And I've also seen tons of my friends, receive similar messages from people that they were seeing. And it's interesting that we use the word friend and friendship to end a relationship. Like when we're done with our situationship, when we're done seeing someone, we're done dating them, we don't want to really respond to them anymore. We don't really like want to hang out with them. We don't want to hook up with them. We'll throw the word friend in. We'll be like, hey, we should just be friends, right? And as if friendship is any less demanding, if friendship is any less active, it's really interesting to me that we do that like we take this sanctity and the sacredness of friendship, which involves reciprocity, which involves, value, involves active participation in each other's lives. We use that to refer to the end or the demise of a situationship. It's so bizarre to me. A guy said to me recently, like, yeah, like we can still be in contact, but just as friends, if you're okay with that. And though I said sure in response, in the back of my mind, in my heart, I was like, absolutely the fuck not, straight up. And that's the first time in my life that I've done that. It's the first time in my life that I've actively decided for myself that I'm not going to be friends with this person moving forward. Because really, like, again, we weren't friends to begin with. I mean, yes, we were hanging out, seeing each other, whatever, but we weren't actually friends. There was nowhere in our, time spent together that there was an actual friendship there, right? It was always just related again to an outcome. But it was the first time in any of my situationships that I was really adamant to myself, right? I actually didn't even say this to the person. So, hey, buddy, if you're listening to this episode, yeah, I don't want to be friends with you. And I'm going to put a pin on that, and I'm going to come back to why I don't want to be friends with this person. Um, you know, Spoiler alert, it's not rooted in like anything negative. It's actually rooted in a lot of love. But it's the first time that I have, set a boundary for myself and been like, no, I'm actually not going to be friends. And it's because, like technically still had feelings for this person when they suggested that we should just be friends. And I think it's such a disservice to myself and such a disservice to this person to say, yeah, we can be friends. Like, totally, we can be friends, when really that's not what I want. Right. And so all that's going to do is breed resentment. It's going to breed, a lot of anger and hurt and perhaps some hatred that I don't really want to create room for in my life, right? And it's just interesting to me that, like, in the past, I've always just accepted it. Like, if somebody had said to me, hey, like, I don't know if I like you like that. Can we just be friends? Even if I didn't want to be friends with them, I would just say yes because I wanted to keep them around for as long as possible. And here's the toxic part, in hopes that they would eventually see my worth, see that I was enough, and want to change the friendship into a more non platonic relationship, right? Like, actually pursue something romantic with me. And that is self-sabotaging. It's what else is it? Let me think about what that is. It's self-sabotaging for sure. It's manipulative, right? It's manipulative, and it's unhealthy, really, at the core of it. At the core of all of it, it's really unhealthy behavior. And you shouldn't have to wait around and offer all this stuff just to convince someone of your worth. Like, you should just be enough, right? They should just want to be with you, and you should just want to be with them just for them. And if you think that hanging around doing all these really friendly things for them is going to change their mind, you're wrong, right? Like, we're wrong. And I did that for such a long time. I think for the longest time, I would just like admit to, or sorry, I would just accept friendship with guys that I was still really into or wanted something more from, in hopes that they would actually see that, look at Harpo, she's actually so cool and she does so much for me. Like, wow. But I think this time around, I was like, no, I should be enough as myself. I shouldn't have to go out of my way to do X, Y, and Z to prove my worth to this person. And the thing about friendship is, like, also at the same time, like, my biggest reasoning for not wanting to remain friends with this person is, like, I actually don't want that though. Like, I want something different. And why would I say yes to something that isn't aligned with what I truly want, right? Like, it's not going to bring me closer to my goal, which is that I would like to be in a beautiful, committed relationship where we're learning about each other. We're committed to, being in a partnership. Saying yes to a half-ass friendship with someone that I still have feelings for actually pulls me away from my goals, right? It's misalignment. And also to say that, like, I don't really have the capacity or interest to have any more friends right now. Like, my cup of friendship is full. I can barely keep up with the friends that I have in my life at the moment because life is so busy, right? Inflation is on the rise. Flowers cost $30 now, right? So, like, life is busy, life is crazy, and I don't actually know if I have the time, capacity, and energy or interest to start a new friendship, right? And mind you, a half-ass friendship, because that's what they really are. Like, if we go back to what I said earlier, that we use this word friend to end things, but we still, like, have these half-ass expectations of one another. It's unhealthy, right? It's not conducive. And so I don't have room for that. I don't want that. It's muddy. It actually ends up taking up so much more space in my life that I don't actually have, right? I say this all the time, that, like, we have to release things, we have to let go of things in order to create room for more to come in, for new to come in. And so for me in the past, I used to say yes to half-ass friendships, and it would actually hold up a lot of room for something good to come in, right? Like, maybe that man's energetically that is my match, is the kind of person that I can be in a relationship with and go to farmers markets with on Sunday mornings, is trying to come in, but I've been holding up all this space with all these half-ass friendships with guys that I don't give a shit about. So why do we do that? Like, I wondered this, like, as I was sitting down to write this episode out and record it, I was asking myself, like, why do we do that? Like, why do we use this word friend and throw it on and slap it on? Why do we say that? Why do we say to someone, hey, like, I think we should just be friends, when really we just want to stop talking to them, right? When we don't want them in our lives anymore, we want to remove them on social media. We don't want to see them. We don't want to hang out with them. We don't want to hook up with them anymore. Why do we not just be honest about what we want, right? I think there's so much fear attached to saying, hey, I'm actually not interested anymore. It was great the time that we spent together, but moving forward, I'd really like to just, cut all communication. Like, why is it so hard for us to say that, right? In reality, that's the most honest bit, right? It's actually causing less harm to be transparent and be honest and not leave any lingering expectations, and to remove this idea that that there's someone out there that cares about me and I have to care about them. Like, it removes the sense of obligation. So why don't we just do that, right? Like, why do we say yes when we so badly want to say no? Why do we sell ourselves out, right? That's what it used to feel like for me. I used to feel like I was always selling myself out by saying yes to a friendship with a guy that I still had feelings for. It also felt like I was settling. And I felt like I was just keeping around stagnant energy, like stuck energy. And I think it's because, again, like, we're scared, right? Like, we're scared to be alone. We're scared to be on our own. We're scared that, love is going to miss us, and that we're not going to have the dream that we want. We're not going to be able to have the partner that we want. And so we just keep half ass shit around, right? I remember one time my therapist said to me very early on in my sessions with her, like, your Harpo, your capacity to receive is so large, right? And it's directly related to your capacity to give. And so, if your capacity to receive is so large, you're afraid that no one is ever going to be able to come in and fill that capacity, right? And so instead of holding out and waiting for what it is that you truly deserve and what your capacity is, you're just accepting small little crumbs here and there, because that's still better than nothing. And so saying yes to being just friends with someone that you want so desperately to be more than just friends, that is accepting crumbs, right? It's accepting crumbs when you deserve the entire freaking pie. It's a disservice to your offering, true, right? Like, it's a disservice to your offering as well. Like, when I have nothing but love to give and I want to give more, saying that you're just going to offer friendship, mind you, half as friendship at that, is actually a disservice, right? And so if I go back to what I've been saying, that friendship it's a sanctity, it's a sacred exchange, it's a beautiful, loving relationship that is honorable and important. Either you're my friend or you're not, right? So, like, suggesting that we should just be friends when you're not actually going to be my friend, like, you're not going to be there for me emotionally, not going to be there for me physically. We're actually not going to spend any time together. We're going to have zero communication. Like, none of those things constitute friendship, right? Like, none of those things actually define friendship. I'm going to actually look up the definition for friend on my laptop right now and point out what friend it actually is. So Google says that a friend is a person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations. So if there is someone that you've had sexual relationships with, and there is someone that you've had relationships of love and care with, it's really hard to go back to being friends or to create a friendship when those feelings are still involved, right? And it's again, like, either you're my friend or you're not, right? Like, be about it or don't be about it, you know? And so for us to continuously say, like, oh, we're just like, let's just be friends, like, no, we're actually not even friends. So, what's the lesson in all of this, right? Like, what is the point? Why should we say to someone, no, actually, I don't want to be just friends with you, when that's what we truly want, instead of just folding our cards and saying, like, sure, I'll be friends with you. I think we need to learn a lesson of detachment, right? There's so many things, of course, we need to learn. Like, you need to learn that you're enough and that you're worthy and all that kind of stuff and you're deserving. But at the core, we need to learn detachment. When you say yes to being friends with someone, what you're saying, or when you're suggesting to somebody, like, hey, we should just be friends, you're keeping a line of attachment still, right? And I think what the lesson here is that you need to cut the cord, you need to let it go, you need to detach. And of course, we hear stories all the time of people who are like, we were together and then we're like, whatever, we broke up, and like 2 years later we realized, like, we wanted to be together, da da da. Like, those stories exist, sure, they happen, they don't happen for everybody, so don't think that that's going to happen for you, right? But you're never going to even have that chance unless you detach, right? You have to detach. You have to spend time on yourself. You have to spend time alone. You have to grow. You have to heal. You have to do whatever you need to do. And then if and when it's meant to happen, you will come back to one another, right? When all those feelings have dissipated, when you can truly show up in an authentic friendship, in a reciprocal, meaningful, valuable friendship, that's when you can come back together. But that only happens if we detach, right? So what I'm going to do, right? This is the script that I've actually played out in my head for myself. The next time I want to tell someone that I'm not interested anymore, I'm going to just tell them that. As painful as it is for me to say that, I know that it's actually going to be something that is going to go over a lot quicker than a lie. So I'm just going to say straight up, hey, I'm actually not interested. I really honor the time and I'm really grateful for the time that we spent together, but this is kind of the end of the rope for us. Period, right? And then the script that I have in my head for when someone says to me, just friends, or can we just be friends? I just want to say that to them straight up. Hey, thank you for suggesting that. I'm actually capped for all the friendships in my life. And I actually don't have the time, energy, or capacity for any other friendships at the moment. Being friends with me is really important to me. And I take my friendships very seriously. And also to say that I actually want more than friendship with you. And if that's not something you have the capacity for, that's totally okay. But I don't think that we can enter into a friendship, period. That's it, right? We have to start practicing radical honesty with ourselves and radical honesty with the people in our lives. Because if you like someone and you want to have a relationship with them, it means that you see something in them and that there is something there that you truly care about and you love and you feel really compassionate towards them, right? That doesn't automatically go away if they're not interested. I think we have to start to realize that, like, you know, we can't, like, I don't want to love anyone just because of their utility, right? So I'm going to go back to that pin that I said, like, it's not that I don't want to be friends with this person because I hate them now or I don't care about them or that, I don't give a shit about them. It's actually the quite opposite. It's like, I have so much love for you and I have so much compassion for you. And I want nothing but the world for you. I want you to experience so much greatness and clarity. I want you to go on and take the world and I want you to find what you are truly looking for. But that can't happen at the expense of my mental health and my emotional health, right? And also to enter into friendship with you where I'm going to end up resenting you is actually going to hurt you. And I don't want to hurt you, right? So we have to lean into love instead of fear. And we have to stop telling people we will be friends with them when we don't want to be friends with them.